All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Ben, a casual beer drinker. For those of you returning to the channel, hello. For all you first-time viewers out there, also hello. I introduced myself, but today is not quite about me. It's this panel here to my right. So, Jen, I have the most interaction with you. Could you introduce yourself, everyone else, including pronouns, please?
Sure. My name is Jen. I go by she, her, and I am a brewer at Homestead. I will let everybody else introduce themselves, how they see people.
My name's Anna. I am a she, her, and I work at North High as a brewer and cellar woman. Hi, kids. My name is Maureen, and I guess it's she, they, werewolf, cellar dweller, whatever you want to call me. I specialize in cellar operations, and I'm currently located out at Lock 27 Brewing in Dayton, Ohio. Hi, I'm Courtney Coe. I'm a brewer at Barley's Brewing Company in Columbus, Ohio, and I go by she, her.
All right. So today's brew is brake noise, and I'm given to understand that it's not just arbitrarily chosen name for the beer. It's also an IPA, so for you IPA lovers out there, we've all had a little bit of this to drink, and it's quite delicious. But could you explain a little bit what brake noise is?
Yeah, so about a year ago, a little over a year ago now, there is a woman on Instagram. Her handle is Rat Magnet, but her name is Brienne. She posted to her stories a sexist comment that someone had made to her, and she basically said, does anybody else have these problems? Has anyone else had someone say a comment like this? I just want to kind of see where we're at in the industry, in the beer industry, and see if I'm the only person that this happens to. And she definitely was not the only person. So she got flooded with thousands and thousands of stories from other women in the industry, which then turned into Black and brown people in the industry, which then turned into LGBTQIA people in the industry, talking about the kind of isms that they get hit with. And basically what happened from there is it was story after story, and she was sharing all of these on Instagram to get the word out, basically, that this is what happens in the beer industry and that it doesn't need to be this way. And then Brave Noise became kind of the child of that. So Brave Noise is a collaborative that is global at this point, that is basically made to bring awareness to the kind of discrimination that happens within the beer industry and works to kind of flip that over and try to change that.
So I will be putting links in the description. I just haven't had time yet because real life is unfortunately a thing that prevents me from doing a lot of the things that I want to do. But like as far as Brave Noise goes, it's beer that any brewery or home brewer individual can make. In this case, it's sort of a collaboration between multiple breweries.
Yeah.
What are kind of the things that are involved with brewing Brave Noise with, you know, the permission of the woman who started it?
There is an application process that you have to go through. But basically what happens is if you're a home brewer or a brewery, there's even specific bars that have collaborated with breweries to carry Brave Noise just in their bar. But basically you go through and you do an application, and it basically says, we are aware that there is discrimination in the beer industry. This is how we want to change that. We're going to brew this beer, and not only are we going to brew the beer, but we're going to give a certain amount of proceeds to a local charity, and we're going to create a code of conduct that is put on our website and is visible inside our tap rooms to basically say, we're not okay with the discrimination that is happening. We're not okay with the way that women and Black people and whoever is being treated in the beer industry. And we're actively working to fix that. So there is, and Ben, if you can pop that up real quick.
Absolutely.
This is kind of what was created for Homestead. These will be placed in all of our public houses. The Scan Me goes directly to our code of conduct, which has our entire code of conduct on our website. And there's also a reporting box at the bottom. So if anyone at any point in time while being with someone or in our public houses can report anything that made them feel uncomfortable. And the nice thing, I'm sure it's like this for a lot of different places, but the nice thing about ours is it goes to an HR panel. So it's not just one person that's looking through that. And that panel goes through it and decides what kind of reactive? What is the word I'm looking for?
What type of reaction that our
Yeah.
have for situations like that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Corrective
There we go.
action.
That's it.
What kind of corrective action needs to be taken to fix that? And that goes for customers that make bartenders feel uncomfortable. That goes for any of our distributors, so our hop distributors, our delivery people, anyone that picks up from Heidelberg from us. If they are on our property, they have to adhere to that code of conduct.
And that includes any events that you would have on your property.
Correct. Yep. Events, it goes for customers, it goes for staff, it goes all the different directions. So it could be like a distributor that happens to be in our public house dropping something off. And if they say something inappropriate to someone sitting at the bar, that totally counts.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of the basics of the application. It's they want to know where that money is going to. They want to know that you have that code of conduct in place, and they want to know basically that you're not just brewing this beer and saying, yeah, we care about everyone. You know, they kind of want to know that you're trying to make a difference, which is exactly what we're trying to do.
Well, we're in another month of performative action, aren't we?
Correct.
With it being in June now, with it being Gay Pride Month, there's a lot of performative action that you'll see companies doing pride washing, where they've got, Tums, AT&T, they're going to take this one time and they're going to put out one rainbow product for all the rest of us, right?
Rainbow
But
Tums.
Rainbow Tums. But Jen, what I thought was really interesting is that you had gone through and really took your time to develop a code of conduct specific to Homestead Brewery.
Correct.
And I know, just looking through what other companies have done in the past year or whatnot, a lot of companies are posting their code of conduct, but it basically looks like a Mad Libs. It looks like somebody cut and paste, and it's just kind of following the guidelines that Brave Noise set, but not really going into detail for those pubs. And I think that's really great that you went out of your way and took your time to design it for Homestead Brewery Company. I think that's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, and I say this all the time. Everyone's sick of hearing it, but I got very, very lucky to be at Homestead, and everyone knows how I feel. I never have to hide my feelings from anyone. Yes, I work with a bunch of white guys with beards, but those white guys with beards have basically allowed me to kind of shape this code of conduct, which is why I did take so much time in making sure that we got it right. I didn't want to copy and paste. I didn't want it to be, we should do this thing because it's making big headlines. I wanted to actually make a difference, not just for me and the team I have now, but anyone that comes in behind me, especially if it's a woman, especially if it's a person of color, especially if it's someone that's LGBTQ+. Like, I want everyone to be comfortable, and I think we all have that same goal, but putting it down to paper and saying, I'm absolutely not going to allow anyone to be uncomfortable because of reasons X, Y, and Z. That's what we have to do.
And I know I'm kind of awkwardly off the screen here, but what I want to do is post the link to the code of conduct, just in case the scan me didn't work for the folks at home, as sometimes.
And Jen, this is something that's posted right on your website, right? Like
It is on our website.
Great. Okay. So hear that for everybody following me on Instagram Live. You can go to Homestead Brewing Company's website. You can see their code of conduct posted.
Yep.
Super happy that Jen worked so hard on it for not just her, but for future staff members for Homestead.
Yeah, I had no idea that you took so much time to actually craft it. So that's actually really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I see so many different codes of conduct on company websites, and I'm like, oh, well, this is obviously just cut and paste, but
yeah,
that's pretty badass.
Thank you.
Can you, Adiola Solaru, sorry if I'm watching that, can you buy this beer out of state?
Hi, Tony. No, you cannot buy this beer out of state. So we did this as one of our pilot releases, which means it's on our small batch system. So it is currently draft only in our tap rooms. So no, you have to come to me if you want some. But part of the reason why we did it that way was also so that we could make sure that we gave our charity the proceeds that we told them we were going to give them. It's a little bit easier to control from the draft standpoint to make sure that $1 from each pint actually goes to our charity. And we decided to choose Center for New Beginnings in Newark. And they do a lot, but their biggest thing is they are a domestic violence shelter. They have like outpatient programming, they have therapy, they help people get restraining orders and things like that within the community. So that's where that money is going to. We actually already wrote them a check because we were like, whether we make this money or not, we definitely want to help you with this. So that's already in there. But $1 from every pint that is bought in any of our public houses goes directly to them.
And there are breweries that do distribute nationwide that have done Brave Noise collabs. So I'm positive if you go onto the Brave Noise website, they'll give you a list of breweries that have participated in the event, and you can see if you can get anything local by you. Again, there's only been about 70 to 80 breweries that have chosen to do this, to take on this assignment. You know, this is something that we've seen a lot of collaborative beers in the last couple of years. The Black is Beautiful campaign was absolutely excellent. And the whole thing with that is that we didn't want it, no one in the industry wanted it to turn out like the Resilience campaign. You guys remember the Sierra Nevada Resilience campaign? So the Resilience campaign was excellent. It was a great idea from Sierra Nevada where they would put out this recipe nationwide, and anybody who wanted to make this beer great. And then you're going to take a certain percentage of your profits and you're going to send it in for folks that have lost their homes and been impacted by the fires out west. And unfortunately, what we saw after about a year of collecting donations and whatnot, only really about 50 to 60% of the breweries donated money to that. So this is another thing where you as the consumer are going to have to help us police breweries. Okay, if you go into a brewery and they've got that Brave Noise posted in there that they are part of this program and they are trying to make this an open and inviting space for everyone, and they are failing to do that, that's on you as a consumer to report them. That's on us as fellow industry workers to kind of report them and to keep up on them and call them out and say, hey, you know, I went to your pub. I like that you take place in this Brave Noise thing, but I don't really see that this is an open, inclusive environment. I don't really see good things happening in your pub. So just a heads up on that.
Yeah, and then so a couple of things just kind of feeding off of that. And I'm double checking all of this because I want to make sure I'm explaining everything the way it's supposed to be explained. If you go onto the Brave Noise website, there is a section at the very bottom that is listed as participating breweries. I would have to go through this like while I'm not doing 4 other things, but I'm pretty sure there is at least one in every state at this point. And you can also search by state. So if you go through there and you put in Illinois, you will be able to find whatever breweries are doing that. And then you can always contact them directly to see if they still have anything in stock or if they actually canned it, because then those cans are available in stores. The other thing that I really, really like about the way Brave Noise is doing things is they basically ask you for proof. So when you fill out your application, you have to include a link to your code of conduct, which means your code of conduct has to be posted on your website. They provide you with they provide you with the recipe, they provide you with social media stickers, they provide you with any kind of things that you want to include on merch, and they basically hand feed it to you. It is not complicated. The little QR code that I made up is basically, I clicked on their QR code maker on their website and it produced it for me free of charge. So the nice thing about that is not only are they asking you for proof, but they're making it super easy for people to do this. So if you go into a bar and they have Brave Noise on draft, or they have any cans, whatever, they're selling you Brave Noise, and you can't then go, I want to see your code of conduct. Something is wrong, because they have to be able to produce that code of conduct to you. The other thing is, in the application, there is a section where they say, if we want to get any kind of proof that you've actually made this donation, are you willing to do that? If you click no, they're not going to release the recipe to you. If you click yes, at any point in time, if someone says, hey, we know so-and-so did Brave Noise, but we don't think they actually did anything that they were supposed to do with that money, they can come to you and say, okay, we need proof that you did this. So like when we wrote our check, we have a picture of that check, and we have contact information for who that check went to that we share with Brave Noise. So they are constantly able to make sure that the money is going where it is supposed to go, which is amazing.
I'm not sure why this comment isn't popping up on the actual live stream. I can't speak English.
It's okay, I
either.
can't either. It's fine.
Oh my God, fuck yeah, you guys are amazing, and I love the commitment to community. If I could stop scrolling over the thing so I could read it. As well, I hope your code of conduct gets picked up by other breweries as well. And I'm going to post that up on the screen for a second.
I worked real hard on that code of conduct. So if anybody wants to steal it, I honestly, as long as they're doing what it says, I don't care. They can have it.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously was hours of work. That's not something you just sort of punch up. And by the way, you may have noticed this snazzy hoodie here in the background. Anti-sexist, anti-racist, pro-equality beer club.
Mark has the shirt on.
Yep. And I get the feeling that you could find a link to purchase this at Rat Magnet on Instagram. That is the at Rat Magnet.
They, I also think they have a one open right now that is different colors of their t-shirts. They also have tank tops, and I think that one closes in 10 days, maybe. So if you want that, I would go in and get it right now. And you want it. It's really nice because obviously the t-shirt is very important and brings awareness to things, but it's also just really good quality stuff.
Right.
Like that's a sweatshirt, and I was like, it's 80 degrees outside, and I still put that sweatshirt on because it's nice and it feels good.
And multiple people have picked up this campaign too. Like I got one of the original shirts from a company out in California, and then I saw like Women of the Revolution has offered it up, and a couple other places have offered it up. So yeah, good stuff. It's really cool.
All right. So I am in need of another beer. So could each of you just kind of quickly discuss what your experience in the beer industry overall has been? Wow, I saw that. That's
well, you said quickly.
This is
right.
So I'm guessing that Jen has some tea, which is
Jen
funny. Which is funny because we're drinking beer, and I wouldn't imagine the two would mix well. But hey, you never know.
Tears can be good. There is fun.
Never had a tea.
Never heard of that.
You should have one.
Beer is exceptional.
It is very So one of the things that can you grab like 3?
Can you grab us more beer?
Yeah.
By the way?
Full round. Thank you.
So,
Yeah, four
Yeah.
more beer. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Always have a white bearded guy do your bidding.
We love the white bearded guys that give us our beer.
Good white bearded guy.
We do. We love that. We love that for us. I'm gonna go first because
I'm gonna go last.
Yeah, you are. So Ben and I actually we sat down and talked last night just to kind of go over everything that I wanted to make sure happened for this live stream. And one of the things we were talking about is we all are kind of at very, very different stages in our careers. I feel like.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Ben and I discussed last night that I definitely want to make sure I touch on is that I actually entered the brewing part of the industry almost a year ago. It's not even a whole year. So I started at Homestead in June, July-ish, somewhere in there. I don't remember the exact date. But when I started, that is when Rat Magnet and Brave Noise actually started. So I was going into the industry at the same time that I was reading all of these horrible stories. And I had probably a few days where I was like, this is kind of my dream and this is what I want to do, but I don't want to deal with that. And I don't know if it's worth it. And I feel like there are a lot of people that probably were in a similar situation and had those same thoughts. But I think it's very interesting to basically start this career at the same time that all of that was happening. Because it's a totally different perspective. And I feel like everything that I was reading, I was like, one, you want to prepare yourself because it's going to happen. I wish it wasn't that way, but I'm like, someone is going to say something terrible to me and I want to be able to, one, stand up for myself, and two, make a difference in the way that this is working.
Thank you.
Thank you,
brother.
Thank you. So, so it was a really weird time to come in, and I was very, very lucky that I knew people at Homestead already that I had a really, really great respect for. I personally, at Homestead, with my coworkers, have never had an issue, but I have had issues in other jobs, and I have had issues with customers at Homestead, and I have had issues in other places. But I was very lucky in that I basically got to tell those customers to basically fuck off. And my staff was right behind me and said, yeah, dude, if you're going to treat her that way, then you need to get out. So I was very lucky in that sense, but I was also a little bit more prepared, I think, because I was reading all of these horror stories at the same time. Thank you. I guess I should just thank you. Double fisted.
And remember to tip your bartenders.
Yes, please tip your bartenders.
Please.
Please tip your bartenders. Yeah, so it was just a really interesting time to kind of start this career, and then meeting all of these wonderful people in the process was, I had a lot of support. I'm in a very good company that I feel has my back in those situations. And I've been very lucky, especially when I read all of the stories that are on Rat Magnet, and there's thousands of them, and it's horrible. So I realized that I'm very young in my career, but also this last year could have been a lot worse. So I recognize that I'm very lucky about that. But everybody else that I'm sitting with has been doing this longer than me, and we all have different stories, just like every person has a different outlook and a different way that their life has played out.
Jen, what did you do before you got into this industry?
So technically, I've been in beer for 5 years, but I was doing beer sales, and I was a beer buyer.
Sure.
So I was meeting with reps and creating orders. And I will say I've had a lot of reps that I would not buy from, even if I liked the beer, because of the way that they talked to me, the way that they treated me. So a tame example, I had a rep come in, and I'm not naming names. I had a rep come in that basically said, you guys are selling through a lot of beer. This is really cool. Do you ever want to talk about seltzers? Do you want to look at wine spritzers and blah, blah, blah? And I was like, that's not my part. Like, if the owner wants to go through some wines, then that's fine. I'm kind of the beer girl. That's what I am going to buy from you. And the response was, well, you're selling a lot of beer, but like, what do the women drink? Yeah. And I was like, beer?
Beer.
And he was like, well, yeah, but like seltzer. And I was like, no, beer. They drink beer. Women drink beer. All people drink beer. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then I asked him to leave, and I never bought anything from him, and I luckily never had to see him again. But that's an annoying thing, but that is tame. So yeah, I've always kind of been in the industry, but now I'm just kind of on the other side of it a little bit.
Now you don't sell it anymore, you make it.
Right. I make it instead of
Still
selling it. Yeah.
Still here.
Exactly.
Do you like what you do enough to see a future for yourself in this industry?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
This is probably, without getting all emotional because I'm tired. This is probably like the definitely the healthiest mentally and physically I've ever been, and I would say the happiest I've been in a very long time.
Fuck yeah.
I was a social worker before this.
Right.
If you know a social worker, buy them Chipotle,
Buy them a beer.
buy them a beer, buy them, give them something, because that is a hard life. Even the ones that have it good, that is a hard life. I still have my license. I keep it just in case. I don't really ever want to go back to that.
Well, that's a lot of what we don't want to discuss in this industry too, is mental health problems, right? Like you've
That is
got an
correct.
industry that's based on alcohol, and I know quite a few people who are now alcoholics because of working in this industry. And unfortunately, it's usually the sales folks, because you're out there and you're always expecting to have a beer in your hand, and you got like 14 events you got to do
all day
sampling
long.
and whatnot,
Yep.
what have you, right? So mental health isn't, unfortunately, a lot. We need to talk about more. I think that's where I'm going with this. We need to talk about mental health even more. So please keep your social work up to date, because we might need it.
Might need it.
Right?
I would be okay with that as long as I was still in the industry.
For sure. Well, Anna, Courtney, do you want to discuss yourselves and how you got into this?
Mo has to go last, so one of you has to go next.
Sure. So I started in the industry March of 2021. Before becoming a brewer, was a what do you call it?
What did I do now?
I blocked it out.
No, that
Did
is
you block it
terrible.
out?
I really forgot.
Did I even
I
have a
was,
life?
no, it was a great job. Oh my god. No, I was a personal assistant. Before that, I worked in retail management for a while. I went to school for chemistry. This really wasn't on my radar. I had been adjacent to the beer industry, or to the service industry in general, for many years. I have quite a bit of friends throughout the country or throughout the world that work in some facet of the service industry. It kind of was something that just, I looked at the pandemic as, okay, businesses are going to be getting rid of people. And even though I know people, this would be the best time for me to kind of get my feet wet and see if I could get in. And I've been here ever since. No complaints. I don't have any horror stories. I think we also believe that our lives outside of our jobs are, what would be the best word for that? You could cut them off. Like, it's a separate life. You can sever your work self from your home self. That's not always the case. I'm Black wherever I go. So, and the experiences that I have are probably going to be that, no matter the world that I traverse. Luckily, I don't have any horror stories. I've had evil things said to me, mean things said to me. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to live my life, whether you like it or not. So,
Absolutely. Cheers to that.
And you're down at Barley's, downtown proper.
yeah,
And this
Barley's
is your
Brewing Company.
first brewery of your career.
Yes, first place that I have worked since I've started.
Do you like it?
I do like it. It's different. Every day is a challenge. There's a lot that I don't think you think about going into it. If you don't like cleaning, don't become a brewer. I would say that. I'm not
Never
saying,
work in the cellar. Never work in the
Nope.
cellar. That's
Yeah.
all you do.
not saying that I don't like to clean, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of physical labor. It is mentally taxing as well. Like, I have managed people before, but I myself and my brewmaster, my boss, we were the only ones in our brewery for about 6 or 7 months. I pretty much started running brew days by myself a month and a half in. And then here comes a new employee, and I am left to train him. And even though I had gone through training employees in different facets of my life previously, doing it under this facet of brewing seemed quite difficult. Had to train myself on like how to figure out how he learned what was best for him. And I guess that's more so me than anything else. But in trying to be a good employee and a good worker or a good coworker, these things to me are important. So it's been a challenge, but nonetheless, I'm having fun.
So you, where you're at right now in your career, if you could go back to that first day that you started, what would you tell yourself?
That's a good question. Breathe. Breathe.
It's a good response.
Yeah, that's good.
Breathe. Take as much time as you need to thoroughly think about the decisions that you are going to make, and take it day by day. So don't stress yourself out. You don't know where anything's going to go. So just be in the moment, really.
At the end of the day, it's just beer.
Right,
Yes.
and not doing brain surgery.
It's
You're
not,
not right.
beer.
Okay, we're not
Yeah.
saving children's lives. We're not
Yeah.
recreating the whole whatever. We're making beer for the people that have to do those things.
Right.
Right.
Ourselves.
Right.
And
So,
But I think there's it's not a stigma, but there's two facets of it. There's the side of everybody that looks at us like we're rock stars, and
Yeah.
there's us who, at least I can speak for myself, I'm a normal person. I clock out at the end of the day, I go home.
Yep.
I don't necessarily want to be looked at as like a celebrity for making a beverage that goes into your body and
Yep.
makes you feel good or doesn't make you feel good. Like,
People can put a lot of pressure on you because
you kill people the same
You
way.
give
you make
people what
somebody
they
have
like.
a good time.
Yep.
Like it
Yep.
is, that is the dichotomy of what we're looking at and what we make every day. So
it's really interesting how we have managed to develop this rock star complex about our industry, right? Like I even remember Craft Beer and Brewing, or one of those, Pro Brewer, or one of those, putting out a magazine, and the front cover it said rock star brewers, and you're like, yeah, but that's number one. That's not a dude I want to work for. Knows that guy, because that tells me it's all about the ego, and at the end of the day, again, it is fucking beer. It's just fucking beer. We've all had to dump batches. We've all had to do this, that, or the other thing to put it down the drain. It's been a particularly hard day.
Yeah.
But it's just beer. It's not saving people's lives. It's not building a new building. You know, it's not any of these things. And this, we built rock stars. We can break rock stars. So to me, it's like that's not necessarily a good thing to be a rock star in this industry.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about that.
I agree.
So, but if I had to go back to day one, would I? Yeah, 100%. Great. One thing to us, but great.
I hate to do this because I don't actually. As much as I like to talk, I don't like making things about myself. Whatever. The fact that you and I have actually had, I would say, a decent experience.
Yeah.
Like I've had some very shitty old white men customers say some shitty things to me.
Yeah.
But overall, it hasn't been terrible. But you would think, I mean, you identify as black, you're a black woman.
Well, I mean, I could go down a list of
I'm a black
things that have
woman.
been said, but
Right, but you would think, because on the outside world we have it the hardest, but we've actually not had that bad of an experience personally, just the two of us in brewing.
yeah,
Which is kind of bonkers.
I try not to think about it because it's not something that I always want seeping in the back of my head.
Right, like you don't want that to be your identifier,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, but you know how it is when you go into.
We're in Ohio.
We're also
I mean,
in Ohio. We're not you're not in Richmond, which is very
Yeah.
progressive. You're not in Austin, Texas, which is very progressive. We're in Ohio.
I mean, for instance, like the way that Barley's is set up is the brewery's on the bottom of the building in the basement. So when you walk through as a customer into Barley's, you are going into the restaurant / the bar.
Yeah.
But so I'll come upstairs to like go run beer through tap lines from after cleaning lines, and you'll see the looks that you get from people. And they can be
Yeah.
startling or whatever it is. They're like, "Oh, you make the beer here," and I was like, "Well, yep, that's what I get paid for."
Yeah.
Don't know what to tell you. And you don't really know where they're coming with comments like that.
Yeah.
You don't want to necessarily think that it stems from a bad place, but it's also maybe if you just thought about the way that you're speaking to someone, as if it were yourself, a mirror, perhaps. Maybe we could go a little further in these conversations.
Yeah.
Less than 1% of craft breweries in the United States are owned by people of color.
Yes.
There's 9,000 breweries out there. Yep. Right. So that's something that I'd like to see change. Just different owners in there. You know, and I'm coming from working from places where, I'm from Southeast Michigan, where any idiot and their brother can open a brewery and it's going to be fun, right?
Yeah.
Right. But it's I want to work for other brewers. I want to work for other people in the industry. So like I look at both of you and your careers, and I really hope you're in it in 5 and 10 years and 15 years, and I hope in 10 years time I can come and work for both of you. You know, that type of thing. Like where can this industry really take you if you put your heart and your soul into it, the way that you did, Jen, with this beer, the way that you do, Courtney at Barbie's, the fucking day that you clean those tanks. You know,
One woman show.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? There's so many different possibilities for a career in beer or just in the beverage industry in general.
Yeah.
That and there's some people, the minute you get in, you're like, no, this is great. Like if you find a good company and you like working with the people that you're working with, ownership doesn't necessarily have to be your next step. I'm not saying that you can't think about it or it shouldn't be an option, but yeah, just keep your options open and take every day one step at a time until you can breathe. Like just breathe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Anna? You want to get in on this?
I guess.
All right.
Let's see. I have been brewing. North High is my only brewing job. I started February 2020, right when the pandemic hit, and was immediately laid off. Furloughed, I should say. For 2 weeks. And I came back, and they kept me around, which was amazing. And I had no experience besides just drinking beer, which I was pretty good at. But yeah, started at the bottom cleaning kegs, and I am now currently the longest tenured employee there.
That's bonkers.
I know.
That is crazy.
So wait, you literally you move to the area, you live in the area, and you go to North High and you start drinking and hanging out with bar staff, and then they have a job opening, and you say, I can do it.
Yep.
And you applied and you got it. It's
Well,
pretty great.
they offered it to me.
Oh wow. Yeah. They're like,
Oh.
there's somebody who likes to drink hard beer. Let's
Yeah.
put her in
Let's
charge.
give her a job.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's working.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
helping out on can line runs, just under the table with some beer and sorry guys, really out there.
Also, don't work for free. Don't you dare work
Do
for
not
free.
work for
Do
free.
not work for
Time
free.
is
Do
money.
not
Your
work
time
for
is
beer.
money.
Yes.
Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her.
At the time, it was great.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But of course, they're like, so our insurance says you can't do this anymore, so we need to hire you.
Correct.
And so yeah, I moved all the way up from the cellar where I pretty much train anybody who comes in there. I can technically run the can line, but thankfully one of the other guys does that now. And our lead brewer just left, so I'm technically in charge, and I am losing my mind. But
Breathe.
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 No, we have two very nice gentlemen who are going to be starting soon. Who have much more experience in school than I do, so I'm very excited for the opportunity to learn more, which I had no school at all. Yeah, beyond what my trainers have taught me.
Neither do I.
Neither one of you got school either. You didn't do the
brewing
SEAL
training.
You don't
go to
need it.
college.
You don't need it.
I didn't
You
even
also
do
don't need
SEAL.
that. You don't need that.
Yeah,
No,
you don't need it.
none of you are Ciceronians, Cicer anything.
I did the
beer server.
beer server.
I did
No,
beer
you
server. I
started
did
before
my
my second one. All right.
Yeah.
I think the Cicerone program might be a multi-level marketing scheme. That's my own thing. It's my own conspiracy theory.
I mean, you're not wrong. Continue.
But yeah, I was very much had kind of no idea what I wanted to do growing up, and went to college for criminology.
Cool.
Really
I feel you.
I was in
Feel
the
that.
Army Reserves for 6 years. Actually, yeah, pretty much service industry or service industry adjacent for years, and just kind of fell into it. But same thing. I am half Hispanic. My dad's from El Salvador, and I have also gotten those looks. Just like, what are you?
Yep.
Ah,
What are you?
That's all
what
you're
you're doing with
doing.
my beer?
What are you?
Yep.
but I've really not experienced any of that in the brewing industry, at least not yet. All the guys I work with are amazing and great. I really got my back. I've certainly seen some gross stuff in the tap rooms with customers and some of the female bartenders.
Tip your bartenders. They deal with a lot of
Always
shit.
tip your bartenders, but yeah,
They don't be a dick.
a lot of shit.
Don't
Don't
be a
be a dick.
Do you feel that your brewery could benefit from bystander training?
Probably. mean,
Because I would, I'd hate for that to be an ongoing thing, and then we could just fix that with these.
yeah.
Like you and I aren't going to take shit from anybody, neither of these two, right? But
Mhm.
new or young or a woman in the field, you're just going to smile and you're going to eat it. Because at the end of the day, that's money in your pocket.
Yep.
So okay.
And they know that.
Right.
Yep.
It's
Some
like
of
we're server training on the same language. Those situations are less likely to occur, and they would be probably taken care of faster if everyone had a leveling standpoint for what to look out for.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the future at our brewery, and we're expanding a lot.
You guys are expanding. North Nine has how many locations?
I've actually lost count.
Cleveland, Cincinnati,
Yeah.
Springfield.
2 in Cleveland, 1 in Cincinnati with 1 in Springfield. Springfield, Marion, we just opened 1 in Indiana. Oh, and 2 in Columbus.
So 9?
Yeah.
With
Wait, how the locations?
Yeah.
a lot.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
A lot on the docket.
Yeah. No shit.
Breathe.
Here for it.
Yeah, breathe, yes.
I thought
Nice.
Homestead moving into Delaware.
I know, right? They've got me beat big time.
So yeah, same, but yes, one day at a time. Like I said, my crew's great. I'm looking forward to the new guys coming in and learning some new stuff. Because I mean, right now with no one with any background really, they're kind of stagnated. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, we're still making good beer. Everything's turning out okay, but there's no growth opportunities right now. It's gonna happen, but we're.
I mean, just keeping up with that demand. between
Yes,
all
that's
the
the
locations.
problem. That's where we're at right now. It's just we're just grinding right now. Get
Yeah.
the beer out, make sure it tastes right, make sure it tastes good, everybody's happy, everybody's getting
Right.
paid. All right, it's important. So,
Okay, so if this was your company, like you owned Homestead, but you still had your hands on the whole operation and whatnot, what type of beers would you want to produce?
Are you speaking to Anna or Jen?
No, I'm sorry, I both, all of the above. I'm sorry, I meant North High. I'm sorry, dear. There's
I
too
was
many
about
of
to
those
say
in the
you definitely
Sorry.
meant North
show.
High.
I definitely meant North
You don't
High.
want me to answer that
Yeah, I
question.
don't want you to answer that. North High.
What do I
yeah.
want North High to make?
yes,
You would like North High to please tell me. I want them to make more lagers.
yes. Actually, that's
more lagers.
Amen.
yes,
They're cool shit.
yes.
Mm.
Get a
Bullshit.
bullshit. Get a fucking bullshit. Yes.
Yeah, lagers. I love lagers. We're brewing a ton of them right now. I'm brewing Oktoberfest
Yes.
next week.
Yep.
It is June.
Because it's June.
That's good.
Yeah,
And then July you'll make that pumpkin beer, right?
probably.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It's about time. About time.
And we
Take
lager
all
our
the
Oktoberfest.
Starbucks.
So
Good. Now. Right. I
Yeah,
think
if we
we
do
used
it
to
right.
work at a company that actually lagers their lagers. Yeah.
It's
I have that now.
it's
I have
that it's that
now.
time of year where it's just like, oh, half our tanks are gonna be taken up by Oktoberfest.
Yep.
Every month.
Oh,
Yep.
we have 9 locations to service.
Yeah.
So
Breathe.
No, we're contract.
Okay, good. That is good.
That's important.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
paying the bills.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, not ideal, but otherwise no one would get their.
Yeah, you got to do it.
no one would get their
And people
There's
want,
not
they
enough
want their
places.
Oktoberfest.
Can't disappoint.
So
No.
if it was your first day again, what would you do? Would you think differently?
I would ask more questions.
That is very true.
That's just me though. I'm notorious for just like, oh, that's the way we're gonna do it. Okay,
I would
that's
too.
cool. But yeah, ask questions, annoy the crap out of your trainer.
Yep. That's what they're there for.
Get every drop of information you can out of them, and it's only gonna help you and the person you probably have to train at some point. So
Yep.
Yeah.
that's true. I felt like I was missing half of the vocabulary. I mean, someone would say something to me, and I just be like,
Yep.
Well, I'll go figure it out.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that seems to be a thing within the
And we
industry.
go figure it out.
Yep.
Yep.
And I did, but
It's a learning experience nonetheless.
none of my trainers were like mean about it or anything, but it was one of those things that just assumed
But
I
they
knew
don't
what I
have
was
to be, and they shouldn't assume.
Yeah.
You got proper training, you get proper training. Everybody speaks the same language.
Well, and everybody has a learning style too.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that's one of the
And
things
that's important.
when you go to train someone else, it's so important to know what the other person's learning style is because someone can show me a diagram of something, but if I don't actually do it myself, it means nothing.
That's how I was with my employee, my underling.
Yes.
Your minion, yes.
It's your
yes.
minion.
No, it really was a big thing for me. Like I stress out about it every day, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to breathe, because I'll sit there and try to teach him things, and he has a hard enough job as it is because he goes and he delivers for us,
Oh,
as
yeah.
well as has to learn how
Oh,
to
that's
brew.
so much.
God
Like
bless
extra
the
like
delivery driver.
Yes.
Could be how it goes along, but anyway.
Yes.
No, save the
You're
best
up.
for last.
Oh, I don't think I'm the best here. I'm definitely the.
You technically went in chronological order.
Well, you did go in chronological
I-
order. That's for
I
sure.
secretly
That's right.
wanted that to happen. Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay. Well. All right. So I'm different amongst my friends here because they are all brewers, and I am not a brewer. I will never be a
Good
brewer.
point.
I started as a brewer. I did that for 6 months, and my back went out because some asshole designed my brewery badly. Right. So there's a lot of like, if you are not in this industry and you want to get into this industry, and you want to brew, you got your sights, got those blinders on that brew. Just know, number one, it is not for everybody. It's a tremendous amount of physical labor. It's a tremendous amount of cleaning. It's a tremendous amount of making the same soup every damn day until you get that soup right.
And it doesn't make you any less of a person if you don't brew.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
That
so
doesn't mean-
that's
yes.
that's part of the
Everybody
thing
wants to make
too,
soup.
man.
Nope.
I am always the only, well, number one, so I started in the industry in 2014, and actually this coming June 9th, right around the corner, that's my 8-year anniversary.
Congrats.
Yay!
So 8 years I've spent in this industry, and for the first 6 months I was a brewer. I have not done brewing since. I have cellar operations only, and for y'all that do not know what that is, in smaller breweries, brewers are going to do everything. Brewers going to literally do everything. They're going to brew, they're going to cellar, they're going to dry hop, do all the yeast, they're going to package it, they're going to do everything, right? That is not real life, right? Okay, so
Yes.
when you go on your Instagram and you follow these type breweries where all the pictures of brewing is literally somebody standing on a brew stand, like throwing in Pop-Tarts or throwing in a pumpkin pie. That is not the only thing that is happening there. That brew stand is one part of the puzzle. It is the first part of the puzzle. So the second part of the puzzle is the selling. And the third part of the puzzle is packaging. Right? So you get into larger breweries and you're going to have a whole cellaring section. So what that means is my brewers here, they're going to create these amazing recipes like Jen did with this Brave Moist beer here. Freaking excellent. By the way, Ben, that's absolutely great.
Thank you.
They're going to create the recipe and they're going to make the broth. Okay, so they're going to make the bone broth. They're going to make that. Okay, and then they're going to give it to me. So I've already cleaned the tank that they're going to go into. They're going to send it to me. I'm going to get their yeast out for them so they can pitch it. Once that yeast hits the wort, now we've got some beer action going on there, right? And we might dry hop it. We might add fruit to it. We might send half of it out for kegs, send half of it out for canning. All your daily gravities. A gravity is how you know that your beer is progressing. You've got an original gravity and a terminal gravity. Once it hits its terminal gravity, your beer is good to go. So I'm doing everything in between those two steps, between brewing and between packaging, and oftentimes I'll do the packaging too. So that's my preferred thing. I absolutely love my job because I know, even though that I'm sitting next to powerhouses right here, I am the powerhouse of every single brewery. The cellar is the powerhouse of every single brewery. If you screw something up, the cellar's going to fix it.
Yep.
Right? Okay. And we just had that where I'm like, if you guys give me like 6 bourbon barrels, I can totally fix this brown ale.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we don't have that? Okay, down the drain it goes.
Yeah.
So I can't fix it, I can't fix it.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm now on my, how many breweries have I worked at? Siri, how many breweries have I worked at in my career? 7. Oh, I'm on my 7th brewery. Oh, that's exhausting, kids. It's exhausting. I started in Michigan. I worked at a little tiny brew pub that made about 1,600 barrels per year for 3 of us. That was all 3 of us doing all of that, brewing, packaging, cellaring, all of that. And from there, I went over to Jolly Pumpkin, which Jolly Pumpkin is in Dexter, Michigan. It was the United States' first all wild brewery that opened in 2004. So I'm kind of a wild fanatic now because I was given a phenomenal education at Jolly Pumpkin. What most people don't know is that half of the building is Jolly Pumpkin and half the building is North Peak. So half of the building is clean ales and half of the building is these beautiful fooders and barrels and just gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. So you got science on one half and you got art on the other half. And my brain really took to the art side. I was never very good at school. I don't know if you guys know this, but I went to college for drugs and women, and that didn't turn out as good. I got a B+ and 1 and a C- in the others. So it is what it is. But I found something I truly loved in the cellar, and I found that because of the men that I worked with. Okay, like Kurt, Caleb, Sean, Peter. Nate. These were good men that I worked with. Everybody was around the same age. Everybody was just starting their careers. It was all of our first careers. And when you say you have to figure it out, we literally mean you have to figure it out. You might not get a trainer. The guy that trained me, it was his first job, and he's 14 years younger than me, right? So I'm going to follow what he says because he knows the best out of all of us because he's already been there for 1 year. So it's all of a sudden you become a plumber, a carpenter, a welder, right, a gravity taker. You become all of these different things in taking on this job. And I freaking loved it. And a big shout out to those guys. They're still doing great, and they're still all there. That's how much Jolly Pumpkin treats its employees well.
That says something.
Yeah, that says something about JP. So from JP, I figured I can't afford schooling. None of us can really afford schooling. And now the schooling is Siebel, or like every other college, community college has these brewing classes that you can take.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't mean that we can afford things like that. So I decided the best thing for me to do is just pack up and go. And at the same time, we had done some collabs at JP with, what do they call them? Gypsy brewers, right? Gypsy brewers. That you move around the country, you don't necessarily have a brewer, but you design recipes for like Stillwater and the, Evil Twin, things like that. They didn't have
somewhere in particular.
Right? Okay, great local combo. So I decided, why don't I just be like a gypsy cellar master? And I'll become a cellar master because I will move around and I will get to work with all these different products and people and devices and whatnot. Let's do that. Let's make that our goal. So I went from Michigan to Chicago, worked at Pipeworks for a while, went down to Virginia, did that for a while, went over to North Carolina. That ended very badly. Went up to Columbus, and now I'm over in Maine. So I have learned so much and gotten to meet such exquisite human beings in this industry who are not only making phenomenal craft beer, who are also making a difference in their community just by being visible. Because that's, to me, it's just being visible. At Jolly Pumpkin, it's the only one out of 7 breweries I worked at that had 2 other women that work in packaging. They were, I know.
Crazy.
I know. I burped because that is how excited I am about that. Now, both of them lasted exactly 6 months, and then they moved on. But so we had so many guys come through. That also lasted 6 months. Because, again, this industry isn't for everyone.
No.
So I have always, with the exception of that one place, been the only woman in back of the house. Right? In actual processing and manufacturing. I've been the only gay woman that's been behind the house. So just being seen is very important. We all love jokes. Jokes is jokes. We know that shitty behavior when we can see it. We can smell it coming. Right? So do I have a proper HR department I can go to? Do I have the ear of the owner? Do I have somebody that actually takes time and asks me how my shit is going? That type of thing. So with me talking a lot about how we can't really afford schooling or whatnot, and we're basically doing the best we can, I'd like to plug 2 groups. The first one is Lifting Lucy. That's liftinglucy.org, or liftinglucy.org. And what their mission is to specifically promote, and they do grants, they do scholarships, they do funding for BIWAC in this community. So that's Black, Indigenous, women of color in the brewing industry. Lifting Lucy, if you just apply, you can put job listings up if you want to get a diverse environment going on
which
in your brewery,
do.
Which you definitely do.
Why would you not?
So you can post jobs on there. Everybody on this couch except me, frankly, can apply for scholarships and whatnot to maybe do some funding just to get you to that CBC. Maybe we can do some educational work for you with White Labs, that type of thing. So Lifting Lucy is a great organization that all of us can donate to and help elevate Black, Indigenous, women of color in the brewing industry. And the second one is the Michael J. Jackson Foundation, which Michael J. Jackson, of course, is our beer guru, the man that we all look up to in this industry. And it's the Michael J. Jackson Foundation of Brewing and Distilling. And their mission is to educate and uplift Black people, people of color in the brewing and distilling industry. So they're able to give you scholarships. They're able to help you get a good education. And you can always donate to that, and you, as a person of color, can apply for scholarships and funding through that. So we've got more coming out now. I remember when it was only Pink Boots. The Pink Boots is actually weirdly how we kind of found each other. Columbus currently does not have a Pink Boots chapter. The Pink Boots Society, by the way, is the national chapter of women who brew, and that's how it started. And now it's brewing, mead, seltzer, spirits, all of that
Beverage industry.
beverage industry stuff. And Pink Boots, again, has a job board. It has scholarships for all women in the industry, and anybody can actually join it. If you pull a paycheck from working at a brewery or a distillery or whatnot, you too can be a member of Pink Boots, and they'll do all types of scholarships. You can win one for going out to the Yakima Valley and help choose some hops for your brewery. You can go to White Labs and do a fermentation sciences class and whatnot. All three of those, LiftingLucy.org, the Michael J. Jackson Foundation for Brewing and Distilling, and the Pink Boots Society are great ways for you to donate from your own home to help us and sisters like us in this industry further our careers. Yep.
Awesome.
I don't know if you're done. You can. I might be done. I don't think I should talk for longer. I really just.
But we didn't ask you the question.
Wait, we didn't. Okay. A thought before I forget it.
All right.
Okay. Yes, we all met each other. Basically, everyone was trying to find people like us within the industry. Whether
I was
that's
sick of
women.
Columbus not having a chapter for Pink Boots.
Well-
because that's how I met everyone.
Well,
But with that being said, I just wanted to find
yes.
people within the community that
Yes.
were like me.
So while I'm thinking about it, if you know someone else that is in the brewing industry that is a woman, a person of color, LGBTQ plus, whatever makes them an other, I want that.
Or would like to be in the industry.
Yes.
Even if you don't have experience, even
Yes.
if you've never been in, maybe you've been to a tap room, maybe you do drink, maybe you don't drink. Could be drinking anything, wine,
Put it on my tab.
mead, seltzer. It's a great industry. I
It
mean,
is.
these are strangers technically,
Mhm.
but we're not strangers.
But
We're family, man. We're
Yeah.
family.
And the industry is very welcoming. Everybody is willing to help one another out.
We're gonna make it welcoming. We are welcoming everyone. We're gonna welcome
so
the shit out of you.
welcome.
You're so welcome here. Oh,
Welcome whether you like it or
But
not.
yeah.
don't be discouraged if you're
Yes.
not in the industry. Even if
Yes.
you want to be in the industry or you're
Yes.
just inquisitive to what goes on, reach out to somebody, reach out to
Yes.
your local brewery, reach out to whatever is in your community.
Mhm.
Somebody
happy
I'm
with these
sure
people reaching
will
out to me.
reach out.
Right.
That's what I'm
happy with
saying,
these
like-
people reaching out to me. Look, if it weren't for you, Jen, following me on Instagram, I never would have come and found you. So I found you because of that,
I didn't
and I
know
found
her.
you because I
I
just
didn't know
wanted
you
right,
existed.
right.
Right.
So we
I'm
all
like,
found each other. So you too at home, viewers like you at home, can find us too and find your own.
No, we're all laughing and joking because it's funny, but at the same time, so seriously, if there is anyone you can think of, send them to someone. Like, we are trying to be welcoming. We're trying to find each other. We're all strong badasses, and we will all stick up for each other, and we will all stick up for ourselves. But at the end of the day, I kind of just want extra people in my corner.
Yeah.
You know,
we are
like, I can stick up for myself, that's fine, but I also would like to be able to be like, Mo, you won't believe this shit that someone said to me, and I want someone else to be like, yeah, that was fucked up.
Super fun.
Super fucked up.
Do you want me to come mess them up? Let's go let the air out of
I
their
mean, if
tires.
you hold them, I will do,
Yeah.
right.
All right.
But I feel like everyone deserves that. So if there's someone out there that needs that, or you think someone might want that, or someone is interested, whatever it is, like, we're welcoming. And I also want to say, it doesn't have to be, if you don't identify as a woman, I don't care. I want you.
Yeah, it doesn't
Come
matter.
here. We don't care.
I'm gonna interrupt the screen.
Thank you,
Oh
sir.
my
Wow.
Thank you. Tip your bartender.
Yes.
Please tip your bartender.
So Mo,
Yes.
if you could go back to the first day that you entered the industry,
Yeah, drink that beer.
considering your trials and tribulations thus far.
Trials and tribulations. That's what.
If I could go back to 16-year-old me and tell her 3 words, I would say learn a trade.
Yeah.
Learn a trade.
That's
The
very
school
smart.
never took kids. The school never took with me. I like comic books and horror movies. I don't with the school, right? But I'm very good with hands-on things. I'm very good with trades. You know, I did not know I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up either, man. I worked at University of Michigan Hospital for 10 years before I did this, and that career was very lucrative but soul crushing. And it's like you go out to your local brewery at the end of Friday night, when you get paid. That's fine, it's over an hour. You go out to the brewery at the end of the night and you see all these people sitting next to you at the bar, right? You got the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, you got a doctor, a lawyer, an architect, you got all these walks of life that after a couple pints, like maybe 2 or 3 of these wonderful brave noise pale ales that you made us, Jeff.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody's
You guys
talking to
helped.
each other.
Everybody helps.
Maybe.
You see just how similar you are.
Right. You see how similar everybody is, and you take away the stigma of a lot of things. That's something that drew me in. And I, as hard as shit has been for tucking and rolling and tucking and rolling and tucking and rolling, I love this career and I love what I do, and I'm not going to stop doing it.
Amen.
So if I had to look back and tell myself that very first month at that very first job, shit's going to get a lot harder, but it's going to be phenomenal, and it is going to be what you wanted to do. It's worth it, right? So at the end of the day, it's, my God, I've had, in Virginia, the company I worked for had horrific chemical protocols. When you look in this industry, there's a lot of, everything's under pressure, everything is hot, everything is full of caustic, everything is there to kill you. In this line, right? So, right. So
The floor is lava. Everything is lava.
The floor is lava. Right. So Virginia had horrible chemical safety issues, and I brought this up to the Cellar Master at the time. The Cellar Master had been there from the brewery's beginning. That's his only industry job, and he was very good at what he did at that brewery. So I bring up these safety concerns, and after bringing up these safety concerns, his response is, "Just so you know, you're very intimidating." And I said, "That sounds like a personal problem. I'm talking about chemical safety, which affects us all." Right? Or just the guys that your farmer, your grain delivery farmer that you've been there a month, but this is the first time he's seen you and he's driving a forklift and he's like, "Oh, they let you on the forklift today, didn't they?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, they let me vote and wear pants."
What's the world coming to?
Whoa. Right? So,
Anyway.
I mean,
It's
what's
all shit
next?
like
Being
that.
allowed to talk.
right.
Whoa.
I can't govern my own body, so I don't know what to do, right? So it's there's always a little slight everywhere, but I this is the best thing I have ever done. I am very good at what I do, and every year that I do it, I get better at what I do, because every year I get new people, new machinery, new ingredients, that type of thing that I can work with. So I wish I could go back and say, start younger, start in your 20s, don't let this career change in your early 30s, because it is a young person's game out here. It is a young person's game.
Yes.
Take
care
but
of it.
other than that, no, there's not I was homeless for jobs. I lived in my car in the brewery parking lot for 2 jobs. Bavana fucked everybody up, so lost that job. Woo, nigga. Right? So yeah, because I'm good. Screw it. No.
We'll just edit that out.
No, don't edit it. No. Because they haven't gotten
People
any
should
better.
know.
People should know. People should know not to work there, man. I mean, and that's it too. It's not only like the thing with the Pink Boots Society is every time I go to a new city, where are my ladies? I'm gonna find where are my women at so we can sit down, and women are going to tell you how the fuck it is. We are gonna tell you how it is in our community, and that's how you learn who not to work for. That's how you learn how to get a raise from somebody else. That's how you learn, like, oh yeah, but they're just pride washing this month. Don't listen to that, right? So finding your home, finding your community is super, super important to everybody. And we're building our community here in little old Columbus, Ohio, in the Midwest. But I am so happy and so proud, happy that I've met you, and proud of all of you, how far you are coming and what futures you have in front of you. Don't do that. I can't wait to shut up. Get out. I can't wait to see where you guys will be at 8 or 10 years. What are the decisions that you're going to make that advances your career, and what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be brewing? Who are you going to be working with? Right? If I could do it, they can definitely do it. If they can do it, all of you can do it.
That is true. That is very true.
Very true.
And everyone keeps mentioning the Pink Boot Society. I know the screen's pretty far away.
Yeah, I can't do any of that.
I can't read it either. There is a link to Pink Boots Society, pinkbootsociety.org, in the live chat. So any women who are looking for these kinds of connections, to have someone to talk to, particularly those of you who are looking to get into brewing, which cursory links on the website will tell you that's kind of what it is. Absolutely follow that link. Look for resources. I'm sure they're pretty resource rich.
Yeah.
So.
How long will this be posted on your page? Is it
This is YouTube, so forever.
This
Forever.
forever.
If
If you need any information, come back to it.
Yeah, also, I'll be
Come back.
posting all these links in the description. All the different comments I've left, liftinglucy.org. I'm going to make that a proper URL. For some reason, I thought it would actually have a link with the .org at the end. And the Michael J. Jackson Foundation of Brewing, and I misspelled distilling. Awesome.
We're doing it on the fly. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's all right.
Got it. And I was trying to type from. the
No,
side
you're
of the screen.
fine. You're fine.
But yeah, all those links will be there. So Jen, I was talking to you yesterday as a way to kind of prepare for this, and you mentioned something that I would like to discuss. You are one of 3 Black women in the state of Ohio that's in the
It's still
brewing
3, right?
industry.
It's still 3 to my
That
knowledge.
you know us. Yes.
Could-
I thought it was 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jen mentioned that the other Black woman is working at a cidery and couldn't make it today, or does she run the cidery?
She actually, so her name is Hannah Ferguson.
Yeah. She's out of Youngstown,
She's out of
Ohio.
Youngstown. Yeah. And it's her cidery, correct?
It's
So
her
she's
cider and
opening.
winery.
Even better.
Yes.
Called Dope.
Yeah, it's called Dope.
It's called dope.
Yeah.
DOP.
That's dope.
DOP. It's called
That's
Dope.
awesome.
Yeah,
Why
right?
are we there? Why are we there?
Because
No,
we're
it's not
here.
open.
It's not open yet.
It's less dope.
This is the less dope version of Dope. Yeah, so that's actually part of I'm trying to make this story short. Part of the reason why I created a Instagram just for beer, because the Instagram that you probably know me from is not my personal Instagram. You don't get access to that. Is because while I was doing beer sales, I was doing beer reviews, and I had a lot of customers that would come in and they would be like, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? So I created a influencer page so that people could have access to that. And one of the things that I first did when I made that page is I went through and I was like, where are my people? And by that I mean women, and I mean people of color, and I mean LGBTQ plus, like the others, that's what I want. So I went through and I tried to find as many of those people as possible, and I followed them through that Instagram. And that's how I ended up finding out that Hannah was even a person. Because I'm going to be honest, it's not something I thought of before I started brewing. But she popped up, and then I was like, oh, okay, so there's her, and then there's me, and then there's Chloe. I don't know if there's more. I am praying that there are more.
Come on, Ohio.
Yeah.
I don't
Be
think
better, Ohio.
I don't think there are either, but like somebody has to know someone. Please tell me there's more than just 3 of us. If there's not, we're gonna fix that. I don't know how we're gonna do it just yet, but that is a goal for me. However I can help, I want to fix that. But to my knowledge, there are only 3 Black women of color that do anything production side of brewing. Of course, there's bartenders and things like that. But on the production side, I am pretty sure there's only 3 of us. And that I don't love that number. I want there to be more. I'm glad that there's 3, but I would want it to be like at least 12. Like there's got to be more. Right.
Yeah.
And it is different. I mean, like you were talking about earlier, Mel, there's difference between the states you live in, the area you're in. Obviously, we're really close to Columbus, so there are more of us in Columbus because we have that kind of central hub where there are more people and there's a lot more breweries. But yeah, I want that number to be bigger than 3.
I know there's a woman, I can't remember her last name. Her first name is Melissa. She works at Upside, which I believe is in Toledo. And the only other person, I can't remember her name, and this sucks right now. She works at, it's a brewery in Cincinnati that's a lounge. I'll have to look. Esoteric Brewing Company.
Esoteric.
She's
Esoteric.
Japanese and,
What is her name?
and black, I believe.
I'm a stranger in strange land myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm looking at you. Yeah,
But
you're
there's Melissa.
You're right.
She works at Upside. She's Hispanic.
yes.
In Toledo. She works side by side with her husband.
Yes.
And if I could get the other woman's name anytime soon, that would be.
While she's looking that up, yes. So that was one of the things when I first started at Homestead. I had a very, very long talk with Joe, which if you know Homestead, you already know who Joe is. But I've known Joe for, he's not back there anymore. I've known Joe for maybe 5-6 years. And we had to sit down and I was like, listen, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a woman and I'm black. So this will be, this will be interesting. But we had a conversation, and that was before I knew Courtney was like a thing. We had a conversation where I was like, it's me and Hannah, and that is not okay.
And that's how I viewed it.
Right. And then we discovered each other, which is great, but like 3 is not a good number.
The woman from, not to cut you off, but the
No,
woman
no.
from Esoteric Brewing Company out of Cincinnati is Anik. I believe she's Japanese and black.
Yes.
And Melissa, again, out of Toledo at Upside Brewing Company.
Yes. So
Those
more
names
of
are
that,
colored
please. But also
in
there's, so that makes it 5 in all of Ohio, which I don't know the exact percentage. I don't know if anybody else remembers, and it's not in there. We can Google it. Ohio has a crap ton of breweries. We produce a crap ton of beer.
Ohio is for lagers. Lagers.
Yes.
We make lagers here.
Please.
What we do?
More
Lagers.
We make so much beer. So for there to only be 5 of us, 6 of us, depending on how we're putting that scope, that's not enough. There's got to be more. Got to be more. So
I never understood how diverse our industry is as far as style guidelines go. Like we're just fucking making up styles now. Right?
we're just making
Oh,
shit up.
yeah.
I'm
Totally
making
making shit up.
pastry sours. What the fuck is that? Right? Like
Delicious
I'm making some weird
IPAs.
shit. Cold IPAs. Shut up. Yeah, right. It's an IPL.
Cold IPAs are not a thing.
Right. It's not a thing. All of these are not a thing. So for as much varied and sundry beers and styles as we have in this industry, we need more people, diverse people in this industry where, you know, you might have a brewer that just wants to crank out those hazies, but why don't you pop in something that's maybe, I don't know, like a 3.2% table beer with flaked red corn, a little lemongrass on the back end there. I can
Lemongrass.
barrel age that for you. Don't you worry about it. Come out real nice. Right? Why don't we just do more weird things? And the more people from diverse backgrounds that you hire, the more great ideas your brew club is going to have.
Correct.
Okay, so if you're an owner, please diversify. Please look for people. What you need to hire for, I'll tell you right now, and I'll tell you this over a sip of this fine Brave Noise Pale Ale that Jen May is today.
I'm so
Yeah,
glad
good job,
one of us is a responsible adult because I have barely any idea what I'm doing.
Nope. We're relying on both.
It's fine. It's fine. And I lost my train of thought. But if you're an owner, okay, something
We're gonna tell
diversity,
them-
something
tell them
dark
over a
side.
sip of beer.
Yeah, I was going to do that. Now it's completely
Listen,
gone.
the beer is so good that you will forget what
It's
you're
true.
saying.
I don't even know
How
who I
to
am
drink
anymore.
it.
I've had
Okay.
4 pints. I
I
don't
can
know my name.
confirm
Yep.
it is accurate.
That means
And I'm
you
not an
know the
IPA
drink.
drinker usually.
He doesn't even like IPAs.
Oh shit, that was the thing. Look, if you're an owner, she got it. No, I got it. Look, if you're an owner, why would you want to just limit yourself to one niche of the market? Right? Why are you only trying to get these juice bomb grenade people? Why are
The
you
cans
trying
that
to
are
do
gonna
that? Right?
Yeah.
Why are you only gonna like a couple of places that opened in Michigan? Oh my God, says Big Dog. Open up in Michigan, they've got 9% beer or higher.
Stop name dropping.
Because they're not a brewery anymore. You know what they sell now? Marijuana. It's got marijuana now.
Well,
Right. So you can't just open up a
percentages.
place with like a
Yeah.
14% and hope that does well for you. Nobody's
Correct.
going to get a fight in
No
your parking lot.
ceiling.
It's not great. It's
Right.
not good. You have to have those pilsners. You got to have those fruit juice bombs. You got to have all this different stuff. But imagine coming from a completely different background where you could look back at your ancestry and say, well, actually, my great grandfather helped macerate corn and brew beer down in Chilaka. You know, I've got a great grandmother who used to brew for just helping slaves run free. And I cannot remember that woman's name, right? So things like that. If you're an owner, hire for passion. Hire for passion. Okay. If you've got a kid that literally knows nothing but is willing to show up every day and bust his ass and do the work for you, that's the person you keep versus the other person that's like, it's a like a job is a job. A job's a job. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to fuck off home and nobody, I don't care about this at the end of the day. A lot of us eat, sleep, breathe, drink this industry. We go drink, beer lungs. Everybody here, we go home, we read articles. We all are constantly improving our processes. I personally try to get into the back of every single brewery I walk into.
Yep.
What do you got going on? Like, what's that? What's that? What is this? That's dirty as shit. What is that? What is that?
ask questions.
What's that?
When you came to my brewery, you were like, what is that?
What is this? What is this? How do you do that? Are you carving in line from the barrel to the tank? That's bonkers. Show me how you fucking do that. Never. Stagnancy is death in this industry. Stagnancy
so
is
true.
death. If you just want to make your brown ales, good luck, God bless. Okay, you're not gonna fucking make it. You need it. You need it. Nobody likes your brown ales, Chris. No one likes your brown ales. Okay, so you need diversify everything. Diversify
Take
all
those
your.
medals.
I know she's bad.
Take every last one of them.
Don't listen. No. Bring it back.
Put them in my pocket.
Bring it
But in all seriousness,
No. Bring it back. Women were the first breweries. Okay, continue.
Yeah.
No, that's
We did
no,
it
like,
first. We did it first. We did it first, and we did it better.
and we're still gonna do it long after you're dead. So
and there's enough room for everyone. Like,
There's
there
enough
is enough room.
room.
There's enough room.
Yeah, right. We got
This isn't, there's 9,000, 10,000 breweries. The guys that are making it big are places like Homestead here that are so out in the boondocks that you have
They
a
have their own
constant
community.
supply of community.
they
support.
have their
We do have
support.
very good regulars.
Right,
That's
exactly.
very true.
So
But
there's
like
room enough for
build
everybody.
that for your community,
Right.
and like be unique to what it is that you want to do and what it is that you want to make. Just be true to yourself and make good beer and be an inclusive environment. And that's really like all that we could ask for. And if that continues, that will continue then the growth of, say, seeing people like us on this couch. And just because we want to see more Black, brown, LGBTQ plus people in the industry does not mean that also white people are not allowed to join.
Correct.
And not allowed to be amongst the environment of inclusivity. It's literally for everyone. We're not trying to be exclusive by saying things like
The
that.
more diverse your staff is, the more diverse your beer is, the more interesting that you are at the end of the day. Yep.
There you have it.
Yeah, and I'm actually really glad to say that I managed to not interject myself all that often because this is
We appreciate that.
all of their stream because they're we have the minds and actual hands that put the work into this very fine beer that we are all currently drinking. But I mean, like Homestead actually does such a fantastic job. Like not only with their beer, their beer by itself is fantastic, but the way that they treat their staff, the freedom that the brewers are given, I mean, that's something that developed a passion for me, and I draw precisely $0 from this brewery. In fact, I pay them quite a bit of money annually.
Yep.
So, and like, not only do I give them a lot of money by drinking their beer, but I actually will go out and I'll be like, hey, this bomb-ass brewery is making good beer. They have a pretty diverse group of people that work all the way from brewing to pouring the beer out of the taps. You know, and they treat them well. I mean, what the hell is that? So
It's crazy.
You know, yeah.
It's crazy talk.
Weird.
You know, so like you have an actually good brewery from start to finish. That'll develop a passion in the people that drink your product. So try to treat your people well.
Yep.
You know?
Please
Tip
treat
your
people well.
bartenders.
And tip your
Yeah.
bartenders.
Don't be a dick.
And don't get that.
And network with as much people. Keep coming back to the bar. Yeah.
Yep.
Like
That's
this
how
is
we
where it's all started for a lot of us.
Absolutely.
So
Now, there is a party that's going to be coming here in about 25 minutes and taking over. But as I like to do with all of my beer reviews, because this is a beer review channel, I figure we should get to that. So
We should talk about the beer.
Yeah, maybe.
We made beer.
I mean, I wanted to block off the entire first hour
No,
and
of
a half or
course.
so.
Of
for,
course.
Yeah. Because the review's going to go so quick. And you know what? I kind of wanted to titillate everybody a little bit, keep you interested. And you know what? According to Damaro Lewis, great discussion, very informative, and insightful. Keep us updated. Actually, I'm going to head over here. And
Thanks, Dad.
I like that.
That's
Oh, hey, hey, look at that.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dad.
That's awesome.
I have a rule, and I don't. This is my personal rule. If I make a beer, if I have strong feelings about a beer, I do not talk about the beer first because I don't want my excitement, my disappointment, my whatever to have an effect on anyone else's thoughts. So I'm gonna pee.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that a thing beer does?
Yeah, well, if you have enough of them. No, I'm going like talk amongst yourself.
Oh, okay.
Have honest opinions.
I will.
I will say that I created.
Opinion.
I'll get it. So Orlin is our head brewer. We created this recipe. So when these wonderful people came and made this beer with me, they actually did not have a say in the recipe. I said, this is what we're making. That's what they did because they're wonderful people. But there was no discussion with them prior to that. So I'm going to let you talk. I'm going to run away so I don't have to be perceived.
Well, on the nose it smells floral. At least that's what comes through me. It's very clean. There's no aftertaste, so to speak.
There's no diacetyl.
Yeah,
Please
there's no
do
diacetyl.
diacetyl rest. If you are new to this industry and you are brewing beer and you are not doing a forced BDK or a diacetyl rest, I will not come to your brewery and drink the beer. I'm not doing that.
No
I don't-
diacetyl.
Just move the popcorn machine in right now. Nobody gives a shit about it.
Just move
So-
the butter machine.
Gross.
I'm going to borrow Jen's beer real quick just to show the clarity. Look at that. Jesus, that's beautiful.
Did she filter it?
I don't think so. I don't think she put biofilm in it either.
I mean,
think
if
it's just
that's
earthed out.
without filtration, that is.
Yeah,
What yeast was she using with this? Like Chico or something?
I'm not.
Oh,
sure.
shit. Oh. You know, the problem was we all just showed up for the brew day very excited to do our 2 seconds worth of work while
Yeah.
Jen created this.
That's how brew
This
days
is
go.
what y'all-
One person does all the work and everybody else.
So we all make sure it's like construction crews.
Or
It's
just delegate. Yeah. We will all gladly participate. But
so
it's-
inspiring to learn about the badass work that you do and your peers are doing to make a difference in the beer industry. Yeah, thank you. We are trying our best to not have be men.
Well, I mean, I do think it's interesting. because the history of beer, there's this documentary I watched long ago called How Beer Saved the World. Women were the first brewers. Then Catholic monks were like, wait, money can be made from this? Okay, well, the only people who can brew beer are Catholic men. And actually Catholic monk men. It has to be money that the church gets. So, yeah, the first brewers were women.
The history of beer is utterly fascinating, especially by continent and by region. Like I always, I'm coming from my mother's side of the family is Scottish, 100% Scottish off the boat, fresh. And my dad's side of the family is French Canadian, which is why I am literally the whitest person on here. I'm sorry, I kind of look like Casper right now. Sorry if you can't see me, I am a ghost.
The
But
glasses.
right,
Yeah,
so
the glasses.
the glass. Oh, thank you. Yes,
Just
thank you
kind of
very much.
floating in the air.
Okay, there we go. But like just hearing the whole thing with beer in England and the UK at the time, right? Like the English tax the hops, so the Scottish are like, fuck that noise. We're gonna make a gruit, right? We're gonna make a gruit. So we're gonna use all the nuts and the twigs and the beer. We're gonna forage. We're gonna throw that shit in there because it's not hops, and the English are taxing our hops. So that's one thing, right? Versus like the Belgian beer, which you've got grisettes that are Franco-Belgian, and you've got German Belgian, and you've got all these. You know, it's equally as fascinating as when you watch all these. What do they call it? The wine people, the wine nerds, sommeliers. Right. Okay, so like Netflix has this great documentary on sommeliers. I think just called Sommelier, and it follows these people that are going through their training to become these sommeliers. So this one kid. You're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on this wine to try and hone in your palate on what you need to do. And this one kid, he can tell the difference between a 1995 North. I'm talking about you. A 1995 Bordeaux in the North region of France versus a 2006 Bordeaux in the South region of France. And to us, that wine is the equivalent. Grapes are the equivalent of hops or the equivalent of coffee. Right, so if you like coffee, go to your local coffee roaster, get a cupping. Go ahead and do a tasting. Go ahead and get a cupping. If you're in the brewing industry, go ahead and try to do a sensory evaluation with all your hop crops, right? And support your local farmers, 110%. Absolutely support your local hop farms. If your local malt is good enough, great, support them. Great. We all know how malt is working these days. So if they're good enough, fucking support them. Support your local everything. The more local ingredients that you can use, the better for everybody involved. You're supporting local farmers. Like growing up in Michigan, we had maybe 50 breweries, 60 breweries. When I started drinking craft beer, I remember the first craft beer I had, put in my hand by my friend. I'm not gonna say what that beer is.
Oh,
Man,
Oh, Jesus Christ! Look, it was a Founder's Red's Rye. It was a Founder's Red's Rye.
Oh, okay. Now I understand why.
never mind. Don't say that.
Well, you know,
She just said it.
I was drinking Killian's, I was drinking Guinness at the time, and I was bored with all of those things. And I remember very clearly a friend being like, "I'll buy your next round." He puts this thing in your hands, and you're like, "What the fuck is this?" Oh, we make this? We make this in our state.
Yeah,
Who makes this?
Right. Right.
Where does
Well,
this come from?
Is there more of this?
This is in Coors.
I
I get this whenever I
Can I
want.
get it right? And that was 2003. That was 2003. Right. I actually remember drinking craft beer, and then. Okay, well let's start going to breweries on the weekend. Let's start seeing what's this and that. And when you watch the shit that happened in Michigan, like growing up, it was all newspaper and auto workers, right?
Yep.
And then there's no more newspaper. We don't do those shits anymore. We have live streaming everything. So no more newspapers. That's gone. Those whole gone. Right. And then all of the auto industries will eventually shut down and open. Auto industries will shut down and open again and shut down and open again, right? So you've got this whole class of people that are out of work. But Michigan's an agricultural state. Ohio is an agricultural state.
Yep.
And people forget that. People look at Michigan and be like, "We make cars," and you're like, "Yeah, this one, like this, like just like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
much."
yeah.
And this whole other thing here, this whole other thing makes agriculture, right? So you've got a lot of local farmers that are coming around, and then you've got a lot of home brewers, and the home brewers are definitely using the local farmers. And then you see 3 or 4 more people opening breweries, and then you see a lot more people opening breweries. So by the time you hit 2010, 11, 12, there was a burst, and all of a sudden we've got 150 breweries in Michigan.
Yep.
And then there was, recession, 2008 recession caught up with everybody. And then you got 2014, 15, 16, you got a whole new burst. Now we got 250 breweries in Michigan, right? And you've got all these farmers and all these new ways of thinking of, well, I got to, I got to support Jim and Martha. I mean, shit, she used to work for the newspaper and he's got a job at GM, but they grow all this food on the side.
Yep.
I got to support them, right? And then it's like, oh, Doug Bob opened up his brewery down the way. I'm going to go support him, and he's buying the local malt, and they're doing all these other things. It really, when you watch what was happening in Michigan over the last 10 or 15 years, the reason that we have close to 400 breweries up there is because everyone needed a job.
Everybody feeds them.
Everybody
Yep.
needs beer. You know, everybody feeds each other, feeds their own community. Yeah. Right. So it's stuff like that. So Jen, we were actually commenting harshly on your beer about how, God damn it, Jen, why
Don't
is
use
this
the word
so
harsh.
good? Why is it so good, Jen?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. So now, when you took this recipe, you did alter it a little bit. You used
Yes.
local things of what you had available, right? And this is a pale ale or an IPA?
So the original Brave Noise recipe is a pale ale. We turned ours into an IPA. The original recipe is like a 4.2%, or a 4.1, somewhere around there.
Very true.
We made ours a 5.2. And we changed up, yeah, exactly. So they called for Mosaic and Sabro hops in their original recipe. We added Chinook to ours to give it a little bit of that bitterness. I did not want to make it hazy because I love all of you guys. I love all of you guys, but I'm sick of making hazies. So it still did come out a little bit hazy, but it's not to the point where you can't see through it at all.
So there's no orange juice in this.
There
no
is-
flowers.
There's no orange juuse.
Okay.
There's no Pop Tarts.
Oh, thank you.
There's
okay.
no
No
pumpkin
glitter?
pie.
There
is no
There's
glitter.
Damn. Well, being a gay person, I absolutely demand glitter on my beer this month. So
Just this month, though.
Just this month. Just this month.
But it smells. The nose is fruity, like
It is.
almost
Mhm.
not sourish, but like salty, like
Mhm.
that style.
I'm getting a lot of like red berry from the nose, right?
But it's clean, like it.
Outdoor perfume, red berry, very, very clean. And to me, I get this lovely biscuitness
Yeah.
to it.
Mhm.
I get
Me
a
too.
lovely biscuity right there.
Pilsen malt base.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Is why it
That's what
ended up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no, I kind of I like that they offer up this recipe and they say please tweak this
To make it
however
your own.
you want to. Because I don't want to go. So I can't remember the exact number. I think there's 5 other breweries in Ohio that have done Brave Noise. If I had every single one of those and they tasted the same, I would still be supporting them. So it would be like I
Yeah.
want to support you, but at the same time, I don't want to drink the same
Yeah.
beer
Yeah.
over and over and
I want
over.
to see how your brewery makes. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Right. So I wanted to have enough of a tweak that it wouldn't be exactly the same. But I also want someone to drink this and be like, it's light. I can have multiples. It's not going to sit really heavy on my stomach. It's not going to be too bitter, but it's also not going to be too like. I don't want it to be so clean that it's a pilsner
Right.
type of thing. So I feel like I did. It's a little hazier than I would like it to be. But I feel like I hit a pretty good in between mark. Yeah. I'm happy
You
with
did a
it.
damn good job.
I'm happy with it.
Thank you.
Great beer. Good beer, right?
Thank you. I have had a few of these today,
Yes.
and I could have a few more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's right if it's a little hazy because hazy's not flavor.
That is
Hazy's
correct.
not
Yeah.
flavor.
That is
But
correct.
speaking of flavors and in the sense of tasting, another, I guess, facet of the industry that people should know about, or if you're interested, even as a consumer, would be BJCP, which
Yes.
is Beer Judging Certification Program.
Yep.
So, like, when you're at home, you always what?
Okay, so
You taste beers
Yeah.
and
okay.
no.
Okay, so I was always told that if I wanted to hate beer, become a BJCP.
Yep.
Because
You
pick it
will.
apart, I will hate it.
You
I
will.
hate it. Look, I'm already spiteful as shit. I turned a hobby into a real life thing. Which
But
you
this
should
isn't
never
about
ever
you.
turn a fucking hobby.
But this isn't about you. This isn't about you.
I know everything's about me.
And the reason I brought it up is because it is another facet of the industry that does not have many women judges.
That's
at
very
that.
true.
Yep.
That's
And
very true.
there is not much of a hard program in which you need to go through in order to train yourself to become a judge. You can literally just Google beer judge certification program. It will look like a 1990s website pop up.
That's what
I'm not. I am not digging. I am just saying that is the web. Don't be afraid when you see like 1990s window pop up of a site in order to give you information on how to become a judge. It is as simple as sitting around with a group of friends at home and doing a blind tasting of maybe 5 or 6 beers. The only way you learn is to try more beers. The best way to also do that is to get a group of friends together and try those beers. Do not influence each other. Like, sit down, have those beers separately, make your own notes, and when everybody is done tasting those beers, basically go over what it was that you were able to seek out of what you tasted.
Correct.
Beer judging can take you all over the world. It is also something that is a networking opportunity. You don't need to be in the industry to do it. There are people in the industry that are brewers, that are bartenders, that are owners, operators of facilities, of breweries, that have a BJCP certification that allows them to judge beer. But it is another facet of the industry that also needs people. There's competitions all over the world. You can literally go on their site and see what is available. Sometimes in your communities, there will be local homebrew clubs that get together that will host different beer judging opportunities. I would say that is the best way that you could also get into the industry or get to know more people, get your feet wet in terms of judging more competitions also. There's really nothing more than that to it. If you're looking to get into something of that nature that allows you to travel, taste beer, talk to more people, who knows what could come of that as well. So just thought I would throw that out there.
Absolutely. Yep.
So we only have about 10 more minutes before the party that's supposed to take over the stream comes in.
Yeah.
So for the three of you who didn't have control over the recipe, I'm sure you had, like, in your mind's eye, this vision of what the beer would look, taste, and smell like. Did this come close to what you had expected?
It's super comparable. I mean, I guess when you're in the industry enough, like, based off of the ingredients that you're using throughout the day, you have some sort of an idea of what could be at the end, what is the result of that. It's a beautiful beer.
Yeah.
It's clean. I mean, if somebody canned that and I could just drink that all day, I would. I'm on my, what, 4th?
Yeah. I think we're all on our better.
It's the best. It's honestly a beautiful.
I honestly can't drink IPAs in excess anymore. They
But
don't
like
sit
too
well
much.
with me. But this is, it's light
It
enough.
drinks like a pilsner, drinks like a pale.
Yeah.
Like it's
If
a
you
great
wouldn't
beer.
have told me it was an IPA, I would guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a great beer.
I actually immediately thought it was pale ale, which I prefer.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I think well, according to you guys, being in the industry, we're all in the industry. You don't count it all. What is the most overrated beer style? Overrated beer style.
Oh, an easy IPA.
Yeah, an easy IPA.
Fruit
Easy
juice,
ideas.
great grenade bombs. Fruit juice, grenade bombs.
Slushies.
Yeah, slushies, but also IPA.
Yeah.
IPA. They're just overdone
There's
at
way
this
too
point.
many.
More
They
lagers.
are
More
bombs.
lagers.
Yeah.
Lagers.
Like, less is more. You can make such a good. I don't even
Are you
know.
telling me you can make a quadruple IPA without using 8 pounds per barrel?
Yeah.
What a
You
concept!
can make a beer. Who knew?
What's a
With
beer?
just simple ingredients.
I don't even know.
I don't know anything about
You
that.
can make beer that tastes like beer.
Which is sometimes all I want. I just want a beer that tastes like a beer.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be an extra
Yeah.
thing.
And that's not to dig on people that want to drink that. Beer fits whatever.
Yes.
It's no different from food.
Right.
Everybody
Yes.
has the taste for
Yep.
something, and that's what you go for.
Yep.
But I feel as though once you're in the industry for long enough, not even in the industry for long enough, but you drink for long enough to acquire a taste for something. If I was to take a poll of all the people that I knew in the industry, a lot of us just drink clean beer, which is pales, pilsners, lagers.
All right, desert island beer.
Yeah.
Desert
It's a
island.
lager.
Desert island beer. One beer. The rest of
It
your
is-
life.
it
you're
is-
stuck on a desert island.
It is a lot. It is a
It's
lot.
It's probably
Modelo.
Modelo.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yes.
Modelo.
Exactly.
Right?
I might say, I will
Might
say Coors Banquet.
do like
Touche.
Girl.
I'm a Miller High Life person.
Yeah.
But,
No, it's
but I want Modelo.
Yeah.
Like my beverage beer, my like macro beverage beer that I drink is Modelo. That is what I go to the store and drink.
what my
You want to
favorite
make
thing,
a brewer happy? Bring in some crispy bits.
absolutely right. Okay, so what I'm noticing the past 5 years in our industry is the more weird shit we're pumping out.
We are
Pastry
going
sours,
against that.
thick sauce.
The brewers
Just
don't want
ranch
it.
dressing.
We don't want.
We
We
don't
don't
drink
want
it. It's dressing.
Right, which is why you're seeing more and more actual lager tanks in
Yep.
breweries. Is because at the end of the day,
Want some.
we want to drink something that is drinkable and
Yep.
not some sort of soup that I have to cut with a knife for.
And I have to get up tomorrow morning and probably come in at
know.
6 a.m. and
So I can brew.
Yeah, or
So I
14%
can't be
barley
sloshed.
wines.
Right.
Right.
I don't have that.
Drinking is a business decision. The older I get, it's a business decision.
Yeah, I don't want to be fucked up. I don't want to have a hangover. I
And
don't
I-
want to feel like I need to recuperate for 3
Listen.
days from drinking an 8%.
I don't want to spend $24 for a
4-pack.
Yeah.
Don't want to do it.
Where
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry if that's your prices. I won't.
we know who you're talking about.
Also,
Anyway.
it's not even sustainable for farms.
It is
like,
not.
If you think about the produce in which you are using to create these beers, if you just think of one crazy hyped up IPA brewery that does
Well,
bombs.
actually, I was thinking of a brewery in Cincinnati that uses so much fruit in their beer that I cannot even fathom.
And we are
how
not
things
going
are
to
sustainable.
name that.
No, we're not. We're not. We're
No.
absolutely not.
I know she won't name that one.
It's a very weirdly,
Yeah.
maybe unsustainable thing because along with mental health and alcoholism, we don't really want to talk about how the environment is affecting our shit.
And that is what I'm
Preach.
speaking
And
about. It is
yeah,
very unsustainable to do beers of this nature.
Correct.
Crazy IPAs, crazy haze bombs,
So much fruit
pastry
juice.
stouts, like magnums of 24 karat gold that you
Yeah.
probably like pulled from Dubai on like a $24,000 flight.
You just put them in a little container and send them over there after 3 days.
It
It's
doesn't
a
even make
lot
sense.
of boxes of popcorn.
4.5, perfect.
And that is legitimately not people hating on it. It is
No.
not sustainable.
Yeah.
You think about how many breweries there are in a state in which you live in.
Yep.
And how many states are there in this country? Then magnify that by the world in which we live in that all makes this product.
Right.
And we already don't have resources to just feed the people on the planet, quote unquote.
Yep.
The people we have.
So where does that leave us?
That's another
Hashtag
conversation for another time.
Yeah.
Global warming.
Let's
Anyway,
do this panel.
I'll
like
come
that.
off of
Next in our TikTok, climate change.
Yes, yes.
Climate change is affecting your beer. That's all I'm saying. Deal with it.
So
and our jobs.
we've gotten everyone else's takes on what they expected the beer. Jen, you tweaked this recipe. Did this come out roughly as you expected as far as taste?
I
clarity?
I do not like to toot my own horn.
Toot, toot.
You
Go
should.
for it.
But toot here. No, this is the only thing that I think I would eventually like to change, and I would like to brew this again. I feel like the only thing I would change is maybe that little bit of haze that it has to it.
Just biofine it.
Yeah.
I would probably just
Or let it go
biofine
for
it,
weeks.
which basically
Yeah,
just means leaving it in the
Several
tank a
longer.
little bit more.
Yeah.
That is the only thing I can think of that I would change. I really like the 5.2 percentage. Anything that's over 6, I feel like is gonna blow me.
Yeah.
Which I'll drink it, but I'm not gonna
gonna
be
have
able to
4.
sit and have 4. Right, I can't have 4 if it's over that. I personally do not like bitter. I shy away from West Coast. I appreciate them for what they are, but I don't like that piney, resiny, whatever. I also don't want it to be so smooth that it basically just tastes like juice. So this is really nice. I feel like it has a lot of just enough complexity to make it interesting, but not so much that I can't drink 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
I'm actually really happy with the way this turned out. I would say it's almost perfect. I think as a brewer and as people that are in the industry, maybe that you can relate to this, there's always going to be something that you can tweak.
Always.
So I can think of things that I would tweak, But for the first time this is coming out, and this is the very first sixtel of it, I like it. I love it.
It's a beautiful bottle. Cheers.
It's very, very
Thank
good.
you.
I drink all mine.
Thank you.
Everybody else drink.
And
That's how good it was.
It's not.
so I like to kind of end all my streams the way I began. If you've seen any of my other channels, I do this all the time. I allow my guests to chill the hell out of themselves. So,
Plug your pluggables, man.
yeah.
Plug it.
I have
Do it.
no plugs outside of my Instagram, which is at TheBeerBinger, at the Beer Binger. If you want to get in contact with me, in
Go
order
see
to
her at Barley's.
talk
Yeah,
about
Barley's.
if we want to talk about the industry or maybe get a job somewhere. I know quite a few people in quite a few states as well as quite a few countries. I'd be willing to just chat if that's what you'd like to do, but that's the only plug I have really. And yeah, if you're in Columbus, Ohio, and you want to come to my brewery, you can just ask for me at Barley's Brewing Company in Columbus, Ohio, smack dab on High Street in front of the convention center and in between the convention center and the North Market. Perfect spot.
We're skipping me. I'm going last.
Plug your pluggable.
All right. Well, I'm going to plug my brewery, North High. You cannot. We have separate tap rooms, so you can't drink in our brewery. But we're right in the short north, and
You have how many different locations?
too many.
Nine. You decided it was 9.
North
Nine.
Springfield, a couple in Cleveland,
Right.
Andy.
Indiana,
Yeah.
sure, 2 in
Sure.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're not on the east side of Ohio, there's one of us somewhere.
I am currently at Lock 27 out in beautiful scenic Dayton, Ohio. Y'all can come out there. I'm at the production facility proper most of the time, which is really, I mean, it's right there next to that Dayton Dragons Stadium. So if you're a baseball fan, come and see the Dragons play and come and visit me down at the pub. We also have our original location is in Centerville. That's our 3.5 barrel pilot system. So we're making a lot of weird wonky shit down there. And you can follow me on Instagram. I am the Beer Wolf. That's TheBeerWulf on Instagram. And really all my postings are is the life that we live in the brewery. Usually my shit is all about the processes, all about the things I have to go through in the cellar on a regular basis. And then my stories get a little wacky on the weekends.
As they should.
Right. And again, I want to promote liftinglucy.org and I want to promote the Michael J. Jackson Foundation for Brewing and Distilling. Also want to promote Pink Boot Society. You can donate to all 3 of those to help out women and people of color in this industry get ahead, get a foot forward in the industry.
And very shortly, links will be in the description.
Yes.
So you don't have to wait 2 hours to
You don't have to wait
To see
2
it.
hours to donate your money. Give up their money. I will say a few things. There is one very, very important person that is missing from this couch. Her name is Emily, and she works at Boot, which is an amazing brewery. If you've not been there,
The
have
Mook is
the
a
beer.
brewer's brewery.
Yeah.
Columbus,
lagers?
Ohio.
You want lagers?
You want
That's where you
lagers?
go.
Go to the
Accurate.
Columbus,
The
Ohio.
food is good. The beer is good. The people are amazing. You will feel at home. They will make sure you're comfortable. You are always safe there. Totally a safe space. So yes, Emily is on vacation. That's why she's not here. But we love her and we miss her. And she helped us make this beer.
Yes, she did.
I will say there is 1 sixtel of this beer on tap right now at Cherry Valley. I will be here probably for a very long time tonight drinking this beer, having some good food. If you want to come hang out, I will be here. This is where I am. If you cannot come out tonight or for some reason you cannot get this beer today, it will be released to all of the Homestead public houses on Wednesday as part of our pilot program. If you have followed Homestead at any point in time, you know exactly what that is. So this will be available at all of our locations starting on Wednesday. Please check out Brave Noise. Please check out Rat Magnet. Educate yourself. For any reason, if you have questions or any other things that you want to know about, you can follow me. I will make sure that the link is in the description. I will answer anything and everything, and I also try really hard on my personal Instagram to educate people on what's going on and where your money is actually going when you shop or when you buy from the brewery. I can guarantee you that if you are buying something from Homestead, that money is going to me, and I want it. So give it to me. It's also going to our wonderful charities. So we have charity taps every month, including the one that's on for Brave Noise right now. So come and buy a pint, buy me a pint, do whatever you gotta do. That's all I want.
Good, boom, good.
Boom.
And Jen mentioned the charity. Again, the Brave Noise charity tap that Homestead is doing is going to a domestic violence shelter. They have all manner of services.
Center for New Beginnings. Of Newark.
Center for New Beginnings. They offer shelter.
They do offer
Yes,
shelter
they
as
offer
well. Yep.
Shelter, legal services. I'm sure clothing. Clothing and food as well.
Yeah,
I saw on
I
the
mean,
website.
They pretty much do anything that you could need if you are in a domestic violence situation. They will give it to you. And if they can't give it to you, they will find someone else and they will link you to someone else that will provide that service for you, for sure.
So very worthy cause. If you're in the Newark, Ohio area, come to the Homestead Public House at Cherry Valley Hotel. Right now, I can't believe I didn't show this yet, but we are in the barrel room. I mean, it's probably obvious from
It's
the
stunning.
numerous
Look at
barrels.
it. Wow.
There's so many barrels.
But originally, we were going to be against a bare wall, but I'm like, you know what? We're in the barrel room. We should probably show
off
the
the barrels.
There is going to be a party coming in here very soon. So unfortunately, we have to go. But it's been really awesome and personally enlightening to me, showing me that I know fuck all about beer.
That's okay. We're gonna teach you.
I will educate everyone.
We all literally
Yes.
knew nothing and had to start something.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, start somewhere.
So yeah, thank you all for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you were all going to be here for the launch of your beer anyway, but
Yes.
definitely thank you for talking on
Of course.
the channel. I love it. It's awesome.
absolutely.
Sure.
Right.
Thank you for the
Thank
platform.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
thanks to you guys who tuned in.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank
Thanks.
you. Mostly my friends and family.
Oh my God. To whoever will watch this in the
Yeah,
future.
That's true. Future people
Thank
will
you.
watch this.
Hope you
Send it
enjoy
to
it.
my family.
Oh, you're gonna send it to your family.
Yes.
I'm just happy my parents aren't curious by me